Better Calling Podcast, episode number 19. Today I have with me Coach Rusty Noel from Lafayette, Louisiana. He's a follower of Christ, husband, father, coach, chef, and all-around humanitarian. What's up,
Man,
Rusty? How's it doing today, man?
good, man. I sure appreciate you having me on, man. It's definitely a blessing to be able
No,
to come
that's no
on and share my
problem.
story.
Absolutely. I love to hear it. Our buddy, mutual friend, Sky Olivier kind of told me you're an awesome dude and you got a great story. And he kind of likes what I'm doing. He said, man, I'm going to talk to him, see if he come on. He said he'd like to do it. And I was like, awesome, dude. I'd love to have
Yeah,
him on.
man. Sky's good people. Him and KP, man, they just they're all in when it comes to helping and doing things for
Okay.
other people. They're definitely just all around good people. These days you always hear the bad, but they're really truly good people.
Yeah, I heard somebody say one time whenever they're seeing chaos going on, their daddy would tell them, look for the heroes. There's a hero in every story. You just always
Right.
focus on the bad guys. We
That's it.
need
Well,
heroes.
bad stuff sells, right? Good stuff don't sell in the news. So that's why
Absolutely.
you don't hear the good stuff.
Yeah, those news reporters, they'll go away from a good story to go hear about the crazy person on the side of the road talking about the UFO or the train wreck, you know?
Right.
All right. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself and where you at and what you're doing, man.
So I'm originally from Holly Beach, Louisiana, a little bitty town in Cameron Parish on the Louisiana-Texas border. Ended up high school at Sam Houston. From there, ended up I went to Florida for just one semester of school and then ended up here in Lafayette. Uh, Went to USL at the time. It ain't UL, it was USL. Met my wife. She's from New Iberia. Been married 29 years now. Uh, Three incredible children, uh, two incredible grandchildren, and man, just raising a family, man, and trying to do our part in our community and beyond. We try to link up and do stuff beyond our community.
That's awesome, man. And my name's Chad, and Lord told me to start this podcast right now, and it's just trying to get people like you on here, Rusty, tell your stories and hopefully light a fire underneath somebody to let people know they can come from any walk of life and they can overcome and achieve whatever they dream, you know, just as long as you get with it, you're there to help other people, it's going to happen.
Absolutely. I tell people all the time, man, you can do anything you put your mind to. I know everybody hears that, right? And they think, oh, everybody
It's
says that.
cliche.
Yeah, that's, but, taking a guy who literally started with nothing. I had a Toyota Starlet car that, was broke down all the time. And a lot of times, that was my vehicle, my house, everything. And,
Sure.
that was home. I remember at one point it was time to move, and I didn't even have to pack. I just had to, spray some carburetor cleaner, get it started, and take off and move. It's humbling to say the least, but for the longest, I was always embarrassed and didn't want to tell my story. Right? You think, oh, I don't want nobody to think less of me, and then I ended up telling somebody this story, and come to find out, he was going through a lot of the same stuff. Young guy, young man, and he told me, he said, "Man, I look at you. You got a good job. You're a good husband. You got kids, and I just thought that you know that was you. I didn't know that you come from the background like me, so that made me realize that I could do it too." So that's what kind of drove me to think, man, maybe if I tell a few more people and then a few more people and then the documentary come out. Um, the craziest part about that documentary was when I was approached by Ben Spicer to do this documentary. I was like, man, nobody wants to hear my story. He's like, Rusty, I do a lot of different things. I'm asking you to do this documentary because
Right.
this is a powerful story and it needs to come out and
Yeah.
people need to know, because people look at you as a successful guy. We've started a business, a hose and fittings business, built it up, sold it to a company. I've been successful in football. I've been successful running a football program. I've been successful in the oil and gas industry. And people think that's just by luck or accident.
Mhm.
And it's not. You do have to work your tail off, but you have to be dedicated and truly, um, you know, we talk about this a lot about, you know, God has a plan for you. You may not quite know. You may not be happy with His timing. It's always on His time, not yours. Um,
His timetable is different than our timetable.
and you know, I went to Florida and I was there and I was all excited. I was going to go to college. Everything was good, and my mother got sick, and I had to just pack up everything and move back to Lafayette, take care of her. So, you know, at first I was like, man, my life is ruined. You know, what am I going to do? Uh, and it was poor me, poor me, but I did what I thought was the right thing to do. I moved back down here. I took care of my mom, and but I didn't have any money for school. So man, I took out every loan, every grant, everything I could possibly do, working some
Hard
part-time
every
jobs.
nickel.
Oh, I was bouncing, uh, working part-time security here and there, working, putting furniture together at Home Depot, Office Depot, and then I was working as a porter at a Burger King, cleaning the grills at night. When it would shut down, they would lock me in there and then let me out the next morning. Uh, I got
Boy,
good with the manager. She would cook me some extra Whoppers in there and leave them for me, man. And
there you go.
fat boy was in heaven. But you know,
That's
lo and
cool.
behold, what I know, I ended up at UL, and first semester, first class, I met my wife. You know, I met her there. We'd fight in class, and the teacher would say, the professor would say, you know, y'all act like y'all are already married. Y'all going to end up married someday. And here we are 29 years later. And, you know, it was his time. And he put me in that spot and put me here for this reason. There's no doubt in my mind anybody or anything could make me believe anything different.
Come on with the come on. I like it,
That's
man.
right. That's
And,
right.
like you was talking about everybody's story, and that's your testimony. And my pastor said one time, you know what testimony means, huh?
Right.
Lord, do it again. So whenever you hear somebody's testimony, like you told that guy that story, and you were thinking, my story's not that important, but that guy needed to hear your story because you
Right.
never
Right.
know, like what kind of people, what kind of obstacles they're going through, and they need to
Right.
overcome. And they might not hear what you went through. They're like, oh, that's what he did. That's what I need to do. Because
Right.
on the outside, when people see the finished product, they're like, oh my God, I could never be like that. But they don't see the grind in the whoppers and the putting together furniture in your life. They just see the finished product and they see you out there coaching. But we didn't wind up wherever we're at doing what we're doing. It's like you kind of made it there. The
Porta
hill and
potties,
the
man. $5 a porta potty, and I could get four of them in an hour. So I looked at it as $20 an hour.
right.
I didn't look at it
That's
at
right.
scrubbing four potties. Man, I did everything, man. I was a clown for birthday parties, making balloon animals, you name it. I hustled.
Whatever it took, man.
That's it.
Oh, tell me one of your funny stories, man.
Man, so when we were kids, we were big time. I wasn't a big fisherman, but we hunted a lot, man. We stayed in the woods. And we would hunt up by St. Francisville, and we call them our uncles, but they were true. They were my father's uncles. So they were our great uncles, and there was about six of them. I think there was nine total in the family. Six boys, three girls, and the six boys they all hunted. And man, they taught us how to track deer, taught us how to skint deer. Like they were our elders, and we listened to those men and but being young kids, me and the cousins, we would stay out a little later by the campfire. We would cut up, we would run in and wake them up. And man, they would complain. They were always griping about us riding our four wheelers around. That's too much noise. And so they all wore false teeth. They were all much older, so they all wore false teeth. So we decided we were going to go in their room that night and swap all their teeth around in each other's cups.
Oh
So
Lord.
the next morning, they're all complaining that their teeth hurt. And by this time, the last uncle's coming out. He's got his old timer pocket knife he's shaving and whittling his down to make sure they fit good because something wasn't right. So we knew right then, uh-oh, this ain't a joke. He done whittled his false teeth. We have to take
Oh
this to the
Lord.
grave. So man, it was watching these old elderly men fighting with their teeth for the
Oh
weekend
man.
and knowing what we did. And so recently we had a family reunion on that side of the family, and only one of the elders, the sister, uh, my Aunt Mavis is the only one still alive, and which is my grandmother's sister. So none of the men were still living, but all their kids were there and grandkids, and so they were asking to tell a story about one of the uncles, and I'm laughing before it's my turn, and I get in there and I tell this story, and my cousins were looking at me and they already knew. They were crying because they're like, man, we were supposed to take this to the grave, but I guess, since they all made it to the grave first, we can go ahead and let the cat out the
Yeah.
bag. And but man,
Yeah.
that was watching them men fight, and it was funny. It was funny.
You had them whittling them old wooden teeth, huh? Did they have wood
Man,
teeth back
they
then?
were. And back then, I mean, I don't know how much dentures cost now or then, but I mean, man, that
Woo!
had to be a pretty penny back in the day. And
Yeah.
we knew that they were all going to have to go they were all going to have to go get dentures.
Oh, for
So,
sure, man.
yeah, so,
That's fun.
yeah, so we took it almost to the grave. We're all in our 50s now, late 40s and early 50s. So, we made it that far before the cat got out the bag.
Hey, you don't want all your stories to die with you. You know what I mean? You got to tell them so people remember them.
Absolutely, and that's something that I'm hoping some of them grandchildren are going to laugh about. And I tell you what, as the grandfathers get older, they're going to hide their teeth. They're not going to let them just sit on the nightstand or the ledge.
No.
The walls wasn't quite finished, so they had 2x4s that they kind of put in there for shelves, and that's where they would set them all on these little
Oh yeah.
ledges. And, oh yeah, that was good stuff. Good stuff.
So yeah, that's awesome, man. So where did you grow up and what was it like?
So back in well, let's start in the 80s. So in the 80s, 84 to be exact, I had an older sibling, got out the military. Uh, Man, he would just, I don't know why, but 84, I was 11 years old. He come in from the military, trained, I'm 11. I think it was 83 actually. So I was around 10. And man, he used to just bully. He would horrorize me, lock me in a closet. Like he would do everything possible. And my parents were they were alcoholics, so they would take off on the weekends to friends' house to play cards. They would go do stuff, and
Hmm.
he was my babysitter. My sister got married at a young age, and so did my older brother. So they had moved out. So it was just the brother that didn't like me and myself. Uh,
Rough time, huh?
yeah, and man, it went on for years, years and years and years. Um, we don't have a relationship till this day. It's tough. Um, I would, and there's other stuff that builds onto that, that he has done in the past, and it's just tough. I'm the godfather of one of his children, and
Oh
I
wow.
ran into him after seeing him. Now, when my mother was living, this was after.
You probably got a big old heart for that boy, huh? That child, huh?
Yeah, well, so when my mother was living, she made me promise that, she always asked me to be cordial, do
Of
this, do
course.
that. So we got along. Um, Never forgot what happened, but we got along.
I
Um,
bet.
and when on her deathbed, she had made me promise to don't do any. I'm kind of known to have a pretty bad temper, even at my older age. I'm So she had promised me,
How
hey, look, don't hurt him, don't do this, don't do nothing until after I'm gone. Well, as it has it, since her funeral, I seen him at the funeral, but since her ceremony at the gravesite, I have not seen him in person since. And that's, I don't know, 8 years ago or so. We live within
Yeah,
a 10-mile radius.
it's probably not a bad thing, because you find throughout life there's certain people that you don't want to hang around with, not
Right.
not not for sake of them, but for you. I
And
try to distance myself from people that
I tell
kind of
people
bring that stuff out of me.
in Lafayette, we live right down the road from each other, and we haven't seen each other yet. So there's a hand in keeping us apart and
Oh
and
yeah,
and keeping us, and I'm okay with that. I just so I ran into his son at an event, and he was like, what can we do to get you and Dad to talk, and without throwing him under the bus and completely telling him everything his dad has done in the past, because that's not my place, and I didn't want to be
of
that
course.
guy. Uh, I just told him I don't know if it'll ever, I don't. I let it be known that I would love a relationship with him, and he's got children now. And we spent the whole
Good.
weekend together. Just it was an event out of town that just so happened we all ended up at the same event. And man, we spent the whole weekend together. Uh, you know, they're my great nieces that he has, and to be able to spend time with them and get that relationship. No, it's going to be strained, obviously, um, but I, I apologize to him,
Mm,
and let it be known that it's not his fault. I'm the adult. I should have reached out to him. Uh, my dad, his dad, and my problems are not their problems,
that's right.
and
That's right.
I let that be known.
Yeah,
However they take it is how they take it. I can't make them have that relationship. But it's been rough.
of course.
But I
What?
try to, I have a incredible sister, lives right down the road from me. She has a son, three daughters. We have great relationships. We do every holiday together. We try to do, other stuff. One of her daughters asked me to walk her down the aisle for her wedding. She's been like a daughter to me. And she's in my documentary, Ashley,
Yeah, I
and then
watched it, dude. It's awesome.
yeah, that was up until, to be asked to do something, probably one of my greatest honors, knowing that I'm not her
Absolutely.
true father. But she told me from the start that there was never a question who she wanted to walk her down the aisle. And, it just, that was special. That was special.
Absolutely.
I will be able, I have a daughter. I will be able to share that moment with my daughter, as well. But it's no different than a dad that has six daughters. If you walk them all down, they're all special, right? Just like having children.
Absolutely. Each
Uh,
one of them special, and each one of them is completely different. That's something I
My
learned
daughter
about being a
claims she's
father.
my favorite kid, but when all three of them were born, they were special. Uh, it's
Yep.
it's different. You got different. It's not that you love any of your children or your grandchildren more than the other, obviously, but it's each one's just different. You got a different relationship. It's not a different love; it's a different relationship.
Yeah, and we were talking about this in the beginning. It's just like you didn't know what was going to happen, and you didn't know what path you're going to take, and it's kind of like the Lord knew what path you're going to take. And I always equate it to being a parent. And I tell my kids this, and I've always told them this. I said, "You're going to be great. You can do this. You can do this." And it's kind of like, when do you stop encouraging them? When do you stop? When do you just give up on them? Oh, he'll never walk. She'll never walk. Like just don't even try it anymore. And it's just like, the Lord's always waiting for, us to move. And he's like, that's my boy.
Well,
That's my girl.
and,
I
and
see him
look,
do.
that
And
was
like when you see your kids actually, you know, living in their fullest potential, you're like, that might make me your favorite. You're my favorite right there.
right,
Because
right, right, right.
you live it to your fullest. And whenever somebody's giving everything they got, you're like, I'm so proud of you, because
Right.
that's what I
And
know
then you
about
see
you.
them do the things you do, like with my daughter, I see her reach out and take somebody in, or try to
Sure.
help somebody who needs. And I think of all of my kids are very soft-hearted and very giving, very loving. They're very well-mannered and good, great kids. But I think my daughter the most, and maybe because she is a female, so they kind of have that, nurturing, mothering. My mother never
Of
had it,
course.
but her mother did,
Sure.
and she's seen more of my her mother and her grandmother, which is my mother-in-law. Uh, so she got that part of it and got to see that part of it.
That's good.
I that what you were talking about, that's a little sore with me because I come in 7 years behind my sister, and they let it be known from when as long as I can remember that I was an accident. Uh,
Mm.
and to hear that from a parent might be a joke once or twice, but when you hear that over years, it sits and it just does something. And I
Yeah.
can't even imagine. Uh, we laugh, not really laugh, but so we were planning our youngest. We were going to do them 3 years apart, and he did sneak up on us. But he wasn't an accident. We wanted three children. It was just it was his plan, and that was it. He's here, and we were having three children no matter what. Um, but to hear it from a parent, uh, and I think that's one of the things I try to push the most is, when you have parents that are supposed to be your core, your biggest cheerleader. I'm a football coach, so sometimes I'll use stuff like that. When you have your parents that are your biggest cheerleader telling you everything that you can't do and not a one thing you can do. You can't do that. You can't do this. You can't do that. You just hear it. And sometimes it takes an outside source like a football coach, the Viator brothers, Coach Matt, Coach Mike, to say, "Hey, man, you can do what you want to do."
And that was your
Um,
coaches, I imagine?
that's what they did, and they're the
Sure.
ones who inspired me to be a coach. That way, maybe I can reach kids, and don't get me wrong, I'm competitive too. I love to coach and be competitive. We
Of
have
course.
27 national championships, so we're competitive, and we can coach.
Sure. When
But
did you get into coaching?
1992, the same year I finished high school, I was a kid, man, and I went to help out. Here's how it started. My aunt asked me to help her coach a softball team, 9-year-old
Okay.
girls, and I'm like, all right, I'll come help you. Uh, she ended up getting transferred with work and couldn't do it. So I took over this team. I'm just a teenage boy coaching 9-year-old girls, and uh, I remember I hollered at the first practice, and they all started crying. And man, I was crying. I didn't know what to do. I'm like, man, what did? And one of the dads come over there and said, man, they are going. Don't cry. Don't let them see it because they're gonna get you. He said, if these little girls see they got you, they're gonna eat you up every practice. The minute you tell them to do something, they're gonna cry, and you're gonna tell them never mind, and it's all downhill from there. So,
Show no weakness, huh?
so I'll tell you how long ago it was, right? So we lost. They had a little jamboree tournament at the beginning of the season, and we got our tails kicked. And they were down, and I told them, I said, I tell you what, if y'all win the league championship, I will take y'all to Astroworld. Now, Astroworld in Houston, right? So you know how long ago this was. I
Yeah.
said, I will take y'all to Astroworld for our end of the year party. And man, I'd be darned if they didn't go undefeated. They won the end of the
Wow.
year championship, and here I am. I ain't got a lot of money. I'm really hustling, trying to save. If you get a Coke can from a Kroger right inside the Texas line, you can get a ticket for like $20 for the day. So I go there with a bag full of Coke cans and a little bit of money. And a few of the parents were like, "Coach, we're going to help you out on this." They knew I was a kid, and
Just
I
doing the best
borrowed
you can.
I borrowed a station wagon from a friend, and man, we loaded up and we took off to Houston. But
How many kids you
'92,
had in that station wagon, man?
man, we had them all over the place. Even the ones that faced in the back, we were loaded up, and then well, a few parents we carpooled,
Sure.
and but I went in from that to. The people in the youth organization said, "Man, we have a football coaching spot open. You want it?" I was like, "Heck yeah, I got this!" And man, it was all history from there. It was at first it was just about football, right? I'm a young coach. It was about your stud players. It was about you got to win that game. You got to get to the playoffs. You got to win that championship. Winning, that's all that mattered. And I had a few kids get in trouble.
Of course.
One, they were 13, 12, and 13 years old. One got picked up for stealing. One got picked up for cockfighting. I would have to go pick him up for games, and he's like, "Nah, coach, I got to go fight this rooster." And I'm like, I can remember till and he's my starting running back. How much would you possibly win on this rooster?
Yeah.
Coach, probably $30. I said, "What if I give you 30? You put the rooster in the cage and come with me?" All right, coach. I said, and the downside, if you lose, you might lose your rooster. So at least your rooster will be in the cage. You get $30. Come play football, run some touchdowns. Um,
It's awesome.
and I think that's what changed when I started helping these kids that were in trouble, and I seen a reflection of me.
Yeah.
In my documentary, I talk. You know, we had one lived in the apartment complex. Matter of fact, his name come up yesterday. His son is. I met his son yesterday. But his mom would beat him. His mom would beat him. She would drink. She was a bad alcoholic. She would beat him with coat hangers. I mean, she was just horrible. Well, we would hide him in our apartment until she would sober up.
Okay.
Uh, and then sometimes, if that was a Friday, we would hide this kid in our apartment. Basically, he wasn't kidnapped. He was in there playing video games and eating McDonald's and pizza. But we would hide this kid from his drunk mom. And she'd knock on the door. You seen him? No, ma'am, I haven't seen him. Okay. And then she would just keep drinking. So
Probably
you
wasn't a good
broke it.
time to find anybody, You
Right.
got nothing positive to interject.
Right. So you see, and
Sure.
then all of a sudden you get another kid, then another kid, and you're helping these kids
Mhm.
and they're football players. And you think, man, and it hit me, and this was in '92. It's bigger than football. And somebody
Of
said,
course.
man, it is. That statement till this day, I I get criticized by some who are definitely in it for the wrong reason. Uh, I don't allow kids to put their names on the back of their jerseys. I
Oh,
tell them
wow.
it's not an
Okay.
individual sport; it's a team sport. And
There's no
on the
I in team.
nameplate of every single jersey of every team I coach, it says it's bigger than football. That's on that nameplate.
Wow.
Um, it's on our rings when we win a championship. That's going to be one whole side of the ring. Um, it's on our warm up shirts. It's on our sweatshirts. It's on everything we do, and I preach it and live it. And some of these kids don't quite understand it yet. And I tell them, as you get older, you're going to get it. You'll understand. You'll get it.
Of
Uh,
course.
but it's been around since the night. I see other people using it, and sometimes my wife will be like, "Man, you don't get mad. They copied your saying." I'm like, "Hey, if they're living it, then
Right.
then it's worth it. That I'm not. I don't have it patented. I hope that
Yeah.
saying is everywhere. I would love to
Well,
see it everywhere.
absolutely. And everybody in their heart of hearts wants to be part of something. And just like you seen those guys that you were helping out, everybody needs a helping hand sometimes because I know I couldn't have made it by myself because if it was left up to me, I would have screwed it all up. So, I just thank the Lord that there were people that came in my life and helped me. And even now, there's people that come in and help me whenever, I'm struggling with something. I need somebody to talk to on the phone. And everybody looks for that opportunity to help people. Sometimes they just don't know how. But whenever there's, a reason or a mission, because deep in every man's heart, he wants a battle to fight and a mission to seek after. And there has
Right,
to be
right.
some castle up in the sunset that I'm trying to get there. So I'm trying to help these people, on their mission. And that's powerful what
Absolutely.
you're doing, man.
So just 20 minutes before the podcast, I got a phone
Hmm.
call. We started a seasoning company. You know, I'm a chef. We do a lot of the football side and the cooking side collided. So I like to competition cook. Somebody says, "Man,
Heck
you
yeah.
competition cook almost every weekend." I said, "Well, I do, um, but it's like some guys
How
like,
many championships you got, Coach? How many
man,
cooking wins you got?
I'm over 200 jambalaya wins and over 300 gumbo wins. Um, man, I couldn't tell you how many black pot cook-offs, anything over rice. The trophy room's pretty stacked up. I was showing somebody the other day. I got stacks um, probably 4 foot tall of just plaques that we just been stacking up because we have nowhere to put them. The walls are full,
So,
the shelves are full. Uh,
so you
we
know how to scratch a pot a little bit, huh?
without being ugly, we we don't lose much. If we're out of the top three, for lack of better terms, I'm butt hurt till the next cook off.
Yes, indeed.
Most of the time,
I'm gonna
if I
come back.
don't win it, I can chalk right up to where I made that mistake. It definitely wasn't because I was lack of skill. It was I just tried something different, which you're not supposed to do during game time, right? You're not supposed to try something different that you ain't practiced all week. But here
That's
we
right.
go.
That's right.
Sometimes I do. Uh, last 2 weeks ago, we had the Black Pot Festival in Opelousas. Sky and them was holding that event. Matter of fact,
I know,
and
and I actually wanted to get down there. I couldn't make it because I had to come up here to Detroit.
so I cooked the pork and I cooked the wild game. And my 4-year-old grandbaby she started her own little cooking channel and she's doing her thing.
That's
We
cool.
call it Cooking with Love Bug, man. And she's got her logos and her merchandise. So
Very
I
cool.
let her cook the beef category. Man, she made her meatballs the night before. She made her roux. She did all this. Well, she come out second with the men. Uh,
Wow.
I come out second in the pork. I tasted first place. It was really good. We were a couple points apart. So anytime in a cook off you're a couple points apart, that's any you know eight
That's saying
judges and
something.
2 points apart. That's right there.
Oh yeah.
Wild game. I tasted it, and I got two seasonings. I got a blue can and a black can. Blue's regular, black is more spice. The black can, I tell people never let me down. That's what we win with more than not.
Right.
And I tasted that gravy with the rabbit and the quail and the deer sausage, and it was
Mm, mm.
definitely probably the best gravy I've ever cooked in my life. With all my wins, all my championships, that flavor of those three, first time I ever cooked all three in one gravy.
Okay.
I don't know how those quail, rabbit, and the deer sausage married in that pot, but the flavor was out of this world.
It's almost like the Lord touched it, huh?
Definitely. He definitely, as they say, put his foot in it.
Yeah.
Um,
Put his good foot in there.
right. So
Yeah.
I knew it needed to go up a notch, and even my wife said it needed to go up a notch,
Uh
heat
huh.
wise. Every time you're at a cook off and you feel it needs to go up, you got to go up because you
Right.
got three groups in a cook off. You got a group that probably shouldn't be at the cook off. You know,
Right.
you got the next group is a bunch of them that are really good, really good. And then you're going to have two or three, possibly four, that just stand out above the whole field.
Okay.
There's usually never no more than three or maybe four that stand out.
And that's your
What
general consensus with every cook-off.
That's every cook off, no matter what you're
Okay.
cooking.
Makes
Um,
sense.
I judge a lot, so I could tell you a score sheet inside and out. Usually, that deciding factor that moves you from that middle group to that top group is a little more heat, just a little more heat. Because
Okay.
everything in that middle group, these judges are going to say, "Man, that was really good. It just needed a little more bite." You hear
Some of
that?
that pie. Yeah. Some of that paya.
So yeah. So I knew it needed some of that black can, and so did my wife. But I thought, man, I can't take a chance of messing this flavor up. And I elected not to bring it up a notch before I turn it into the judges. And the two judges, and that's how I knew which two judges gave me, I was the 2 points I was off. Two judges said, man, it was perfect. If you had a little more bite, we come out third, so I'm not complaining. We come out in the top three,
Right.
and I was only a couple points off, but they all said, man, if you just had a little bit more bite, you would have smoked the two ahead of you. And I'm thinking,
Yes.
I can't do nothing but kick myself in the rear. It was me, second guess, second guess.
So we were just talking about it a minute ago. You gonna bring some of that love down there to Florida?
Absolutely. So this is fixing to sound crazy, but so I do have KP, matter of fact, called me today.
Hmm.
Kaylee called me and said she's got Savoy's. She's good friends with the owner. So Savoy Sausage is donating a lot of sausage. New News here in Youngsville is donating a ton of sausage. And Bougie Bologna is donating a bunch of bologna. I don't know if you're a bologna guy.
I love bologna. I don't think I've ever had bougie bologna.
Bougie Bologna is on a different level. He's got regular and
Really?
he's got jalapeno. This dude has got the market on bougie on bologna. He's got it. He's got
And
a
what
ton of
town is that
stuff.
in?
His name is Ross. He makes it at Como's Meat Market in Breaux Bridge. They do Como
Bro Bridge.
sausage and a few
Okay.
things in Breaux
All
Bridge.
right.
So they're making it for him. And his catchphrase and buttons it says, and he's even got a club on social media, the Butthole Free Club. His bologna is guaranteed 100% butthole free. He only uses smoked shoulder meat.
I got you.
So he's a premium bologna. That's hence the bougie bologna, right? But he's got
Bougie
a
bologna.
regular
I
and he's
get
got
it.
a jalapeno. He's got a jalapeno that's incredible. And I love to do it in the grill. It's great for breakfast. But they slice it and it comes in the packed slice. Well, the ends are just big chubs of meat. So
Yeah.
he donating that. Um, and he did for the hurricane victims that were in um, Morgan City. We just went cook. We did about 1,500 plates in Morgan City 2 weeks ago. Uh,
Nice.
and that's what we did, man. I did a pasta laya for the first time, pasta laya with bougie bologna.
How'd it come out?
Really good. Nicole, somebody's beating on the door. Uh,
So that bougie bologna, whenever you cook it, it stays firm together in a pasta line?
so we browned it in the 30 gallon and we had a 30 gallon and Shane Gaspard brought his 80 gallon pot. When you brown it, it kind of sears like meat. But what I like about it is it's a little porous, right? Unlike a solid meat. So it
Sure.
soaks up all the juice. Um, it soaked
Get some
everything up in there. So
get some
really,
kick, huh?
yeah. Well, and then we had one pot, somebody donated some pork, regular, just straight up marinated pork.
Hmm.
And we did both in there. And it was hard to pick out the two once it was cooked. You had to really look for it because we browned it good.
I'm gonna have
Uh,
to get me some of this bougie bologna. You got me kind of excited.
um, yeah, baby, the great trailer's going to Florida. I got people here loading up. We're going to Florida to cook for hurricane victims, and we put online that we were doing donations, and that's who was beating on the door. Somebody's loading up stuff. If I'm not here, I'll have the trailer unlocked. So the trailer going to Florida, they just loading it in the trailer as we come.
It's awesome, man.
I got a I got
It's good.
a good friend and neighbor, Miss Shelly Gaspard. Man, she did 1,500 to go containers. She ordered them from Walmart to go and put them in the trailer for me. So we people are taking items off the list and we getting it, man. We getting it. But
That's
bougie
awesome that y'all
baloney.
going down there. Bougie bologna. Shout out to Bougie bologna. Y'all check it out. I'm gonna have to stop. So is it anywhere else? I just got to go all the way to Bow Bridge to get it.
No, man, he's in all the Rouses, News, Rouses, all the Rouses market across Louisiana. He's got it in every Rouses.
I'm gonna have to check that
He's
out,
all
man.
over. I think he's fixing to be in Walmart. The guy's a
Nice.
hustler, man. He worked for Halliburton. He quit his job and went all in. He bought him a
The
van.
bologna's that good. He quit Halliburton.
He quit Halliburton. He told me he was there 20 something years, I believe, right at 30 years. And man, he quit. And he's slinging baloney. Man, the dude got him a
He
van and he's working.
he said, I'm making more with this butthole free bologna over here than I
Butthole
was
free
making at Halliburton.
baloney, man.
I love it, dude.
Uh,
I love it. Tell me what community means to you.
I, when I was young, I wasn't getting much at home as far as love, attention, that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
So it was in the community where I would find it, right? So that's what my wife and I, we try to do as much possible. Uh, Most of the competition cooks that we do, we try to do them uh, for benefits. Um, we do benefits, cook-offs. When we go to these benefits, we try to also spend money. We don't just go to cook; we try to spend money. Um,
Sure.
Charities,
Sup-
St. Jude's.
Support those people out there.
Yeah, you know, Saving Grace Project. It's dear to my heart. David Owens, Wing Wars of Acadiana is tied to Saving Grace Project, and they help homeless teenagers in the Acadiana area. There's over 2,000 documented homeless teenagers in Acadiana. That's
Wow.
documented. So you can't imagine, the ones that are undocumented in our area.
Of
Um,
course.
my wife and I started Buddy Ball for special needs kids, just so these kids that have special needs, we were watching them uh, at an older sibling's ball game, watching, cheering them on, and we we were like, that's not right. Somebody needs to be cheering them on. What can we
Right.
do for them to have a game and them to have somebody cheer them on? Something to that effect. Uh, So my wife was like, "What are we going to do?" I'm like, "Man, when we were in high school, there was a program called Buddy Ball, and we just take everybody. We don't practice. We just show up." So I went to the organization and said, "Hey, this is what I'm going to do." They're like, "Hey, what do you need from me?" First thing they said, they didn't hesitate. CSA Youth Organization. They didn't hesitate. They didn't be like, "Well, we got a field shortage." They're like, "What do you need?" I said, "I need one field, 1 hour, Wednesday night, and I need a team to play." "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, we got to play somebody." I said, "So schedule us against a 12, 13, 14 year old, like a pony team. That way they kind of older, so they get the concept. They're going to let us win. They're going to have fun." And
Yeah. Everybody's
man,
gonna
it
enjoy themselves.
man, it grew quick. People in the middle of the season, "Hey, I got a niece that with Down syndrome, or I got a niece that's got autism. We got one with muscular dystrophy. Man, what can we do?" And bring them. What shirt do they
Of
wear?
course.
And we just ordered a ton of shirts. That way, we always had shirts on hand. We suit them up, and um, so the coaches at the time were the Lotifs at UL for softball. They had a son that and daughter that were playing at CSA, and when we would play on Wednesday nights, man, the whole park would stop, and it was loud at our field. Everybody was cheering them on, and the fence, everybody was packed, and that was the hot spot. And so they come over there, and then they watched, and then after the game, they approached me, and they're like, "Hey, man, what you're doing, this is incredible. What can we do to get involved?" I said, "Coach, I
Right.
don't know yet, but I know you coach at UL. I'm gonna find something for you to get involved with."
Absolutely. I need you to help for
So
sure.
first thing I called him for, I said, "Hey, one of your catcher's bags that's a little bit wider, bigger on wheels. I need one of them. Come get it, coach." So I had a Raging Cajun catcher's bag. Reason being, we had wiffle ball bats, we had regular bats. I had tennis rackets in case they needed something really wide to hit a ball. I had a tee that I had to roll
That's
in there.
cool.
I had different things, and then the balls we used were a little bit bigger, and I had a bunch of them. They were softer.
Yeah,
Um,
sure.
they make a ball for a special needs league. It's firm that you can throw and hit, but it's soft where it won't hurt them. Uh, so that big bag made it easy to carry.
Sure. Get
So my
everything in
second
that one bag.
call, yeah, my second call was a little more important. I said, "Coach, we don't have anybody to play for a championship this year. What if we play the Lady Cajuns at your facility for our championship end of the year game?" He said, "Done." So
That's
then he
awesome.
calls me back. He said, "Man, look, we have camp going on such and such day with our campers. Man, we'll have 500 girls at camp. What if we do it at that time and we make all our campers get in the stands as fans while you play the Lady Cajuns? And I'm like,
Yeah,
man,
that'd be
this is
awesome.
great. So that took off. When we go to play the Lady Cajuns, and they have an announcer. Man, I can't remember his name. He walks with a walker, the walking canes, Bobby, Mr. Bobby.
Uh-huh.
Uh, and he's an announcer for the Cajuns, and he's been doing this for years, and he knows ball in and out. And he comes down there, and I said, Mr. Bobby, why don't you play with us today? Oh no, I can't play ball. I said, you're going to tell all these kids with special needs they can't play ball? We got some in wheelchairs, some in one little boy has the same sticks you got, and you can't play?
Right?
You right. So Mr. Bobby gets up there and he hits, and man, he goes around the bases and comes in, and by the time he gets in the home plate, man, I could see the tears coming out. And I said, Bobby, what's wrong? He said, man, I've been in a booth, I've been in the dugout, I've kept stats. I was on the high school team because I kept stats. I was on little league teams because I kept stats. Mr. Bobby was probably in his 60s at the time.
Uh-huh.
He said, all these years, the first time I've ever got to play the game that I've been around
That's
my whole
awesome.
life. And I hit, I'm choked up thinking about it. Like,
Yeah,
so these kids won't be in Mr. Bobby's position at his age. These kids got to play.
right.
And with all the 27 national championships I've won, countless tournaments, uh, I've won 50. I've coached in 51 All-American games. I'm 50-1. I've lost one
Wow.
All-American game as a head coach, traveling all over the country. Yeah, my biggest, they asked me, man, what's your biggest sports moment? And I still pick one moment out. And the crazy part is it has nothing to do with football or one of these national championships and one of these games or any of that. Um, one of our years of buddy ball, we got a call from the Pony Association and says, hey, we have our Pony World Series going on. Would you like to bring your buddy ball to compete in the World Series? We have another special needs team from Dallas that's going to come in.
That's awesome.
I'm like, well, heck yeah, we in. Um, so we get
Absolutely.
there and we're thinking it's going to be our regular buddy ball game. We'll help them out and we'll do this. And well, they stopped every field at this game. They stopped every field and made in the middle of these games and made everybody come to our field to watch. So our field was packed
Yeah.
of every team of every age group that was there competing, parents, players, and we were on the field with our team. And we on the field. We help them. I had my sunglasses on. Thank goodness. Um, this little girl gets up to bat, and she's 10 years old. Her name was Macy. She's blind from Dallas. And the lady hollers, everyone, her coach, they pitched to her. Everybody has to be quiet so Macy can hear the ball coming. And I'm thinking, wow, she whiffed one or two and she cranks a home run. There was a helper on each base that would holler her name till she would run to that base, then turn
That's
her to the
cool.
next base, and then she would run to the next voice, and so on till she goes around, right?
Yeah.
And man, by the time this little girl rounded third, I'm bawling. Like I'm just bawling. I'm just horrible, just a basket case in the middle of this field. And I'm thinking to myself, I just watched a 10-year-old blind girl hit a home run in an in a World Series game. So
That's
I have
awesome.
used that forever in anything. When anyone tells me I can't do something, I'll tell them, no, I watched a 10-year-old blind girl hit a home run in a World Series. What do you mean?
Right.
And the video's on my phone. I pull it up and show them, and they're like, yeah, coach, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. I'll
That's
get
right.
you.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, it's moments like that that you realize, man, you're making things happen. My son just walked through here. He's coaching football now, high school football. He did assistant coaching at UL, and then went on to do teach and coach at Lafayette High. And I'll never forget, he was in high school coaching a 10-year-old team. They won the national championship that year as a high school coach, head coach. He was coaching a 10-year-old group of boys that went on and won the national championship. But his first tournament in football, we were down in Abbeville, and we win the tournament, and we leave, and man, he's just moving around in the truck, and we stopped at a convenience store to grab something to drink, and he said, "Dad, I've won so many times at this game, but I feel different. I don't know what's different, and man, my insides are just." He said, "I just feel a different way," and I said, "Well, let me explain to you why. That feeling you got when you won as a player, you're realizing right now that you just made it happen for 30 kids. So you
Yeah,
just multiplied that feeling times 30." And I said, "Now you're
very cool.
addicted. You're addicted, and that's going to be it." And sure enough, man, he's grown and doing his
Yeah,
thing and coaching and following in the old pop's footsteps. Man, making me
that's cool,
proud.
man. Yeah, because I got a buddy of mine, Sean Ladig, and he's a pretty inspirational guy too. And one of the things I got him on Facebook, and I actually did a podcast with him. And he does jujitsu. He travels around the world doing jujitsu, and he's doing some other stuff with agriculture in Louisiana. And he also coaches a special needs team, the Mandeville Mustangs, over there in Mandeville, Louisiana.
And
And
I
like
work in Mandeville,
just
so
yeah, just watching him, interact with those kids and coaching them and playing volleyball and basketball and just getting them involved and watching the community come together. Because it's like, how do we help these kids? And then you have somebody like, say, you or him or whatever it is, and actually step up and donate their time. And the parents are like, hey, what do you need from us? And, you just need people to love them and give them opportunity and coach them and just let them develop. And that's a powerful thing, for opportunity for
absolutely.
those people. Yeah. So that's awesome, man. Oh, I've seen you say something on a documentary about giving back. What do you look for giving back for some of the people that you've helped?
Um, Time, I think, and it's something I never have enough of. I'm always
Hmm.
overextended. Uh, but giving back time, I tell people you can not have a lot of money and still make an impact. Um,
Right.
you can give that time to our youth that need it more now than ever. Our youth needs it now more than ever. Um, I've always felt more of wanting to be that servant, right? Um,
Mhm.
that's part of the giving back. I just want to, and it's crazy because I think part of it comes from never getting that "I'm proud of you" from your parents or "you did good." Um,
Sure.
so I guess I think I want to be
You
there
might
to
have.
tell, and not for me, but I want to be there to be able to tell these kids or these other people that I'm proud of them. Uh, I'm
Right.
excited for them. Somebody is
Yeah.
watching what you're doing and is proud of you. Um, I can
Yeah.
remember
You're
when I
trying. You're trying to give them what you needed as or was looking for as a kid.
I've shared that post a few times. Be the person you needed when you were young. Be that
Come
person.
on. Come on with the come on.
Be that person.
Heck yeah.
Um, there was times that I missed one of my own children's basketball or baseball or softball or football, not football because I was always coaching, but one of their games to go to another kid's game because I knew my wife would be there for them, but to go to
Right.
another kid's game because I knew there was no parent there for them.
You know that other child needed you
The
more.
worst feeling I can remember, uh, coming off the fields for high school, coming off the high school games, and all these parents and aunts and uncles were there taking pictures with these kids. Somebody was always there cooking, so we had a burger, whatever. Um, Somebody was always there wanting to take a picture after the game or tell them they're proud of them or whatever. And I just went through the crowd and got my burger and went to the locker room because I never had anybody there. And that was the most horrible feeling um, ever. And if I could be there to tell that kid, I'm here, see me, I'm here for you, I'm proud of you, coach loves you. Uh, Man, I could have 40
That,
kids and I never end a gathering, a practice, a game without telling those kids I love them.
that's awesome.
Never. And man, these kids are in high school. I got them in the NFL. I just made the trip to New Orleans last week to watch a couple of them play for the Panthers.
Oh wow,
And
that's
and
amazing.
and and after the game, I went, you know, and got to see them at the bus before they went home. And you hug them, and the first thing they told me was, "Love you, coach. Thank you for coming." And you think, yeah, it stuck, man. It stuck.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's
you know,
love,
that's
man.
that's the part, man. And it just that giving back. We're doing better, so we're doing it a little bit more on the monetary side, as far as donating, sponsoring. Little bitty company. Everybody sees you kind of successful on social media, and they think the money is just stacked up at your house. They don't realize
With
uh,
pallets, huh?
product, man.
But
We haven't taken anything from the company yet. We just been flipping it into product, and it's been, we had this discussion earlier about, God puts people in your path that help. Uh,
sure.
I have a manufacturer for my seasoning. Uh, he called me today. He's like, "Hey, look, I just wanted to make sure these invoices were correct before I sent them out, but don't worry about paying me because I know you're growing. Let's get this growing together."
That's
He's
awesome.
putting my product on his website to have his girl ship it out and do this, and you know,
It's wonderful.
just he's truly a saint that was sent to help me grow. And we're gonna
Yeah.
grow it together. We're gonna get it, but it's funny. Giving back is just that's
I, I, I,
maybe it's selfish, but man, sometimes I feel like I get more out of giving back than the people I'm giving to sometimes.
well,
uh
there's a saying in the Bible. It's better to give than to receive. And the thing about giving, it's like you can't you can't put anything in a full cup. So whenever you're pouring out everything that you have, whether it's time or whenever it's resources or whatever it might be, if you're helping people and if you're doing stuff for the Lord, He's going to keep filling up your pot. And He's going to keep putting stuff in your cup, and He's going to put people in your path to help you accomplish whatever He sent you to do. And I think by what you're doing out there, helping people, I think that's what it is. He's putting angels in your
Putting them
path
there.
to kind of help you. Sure. I believe that. I
I
really do.
agree. I agree, and it's showing.
Yeah.
But
Because
we've
I
been
mean,
doing this.
y'all trying to go feed people, y'all, and you got people just donating sausage. They see you out there on a good path, and it's just like whether they know it or not, that's just the Lord in them trying to accomplish a task.
Yep, I agree, man. And look, there's nothing going to stop this train, man. We're going to
Good.
continue no matter what we're doing. We're gonna always help where needed, whether it be the community, other communities, man, just wherever. Our youth, our elderly. Man, last week I had one of the best days. It'd like to kill me. I suffered for about 2 days straight, but man, I went to this elderly function in New Iberia. And did 500 plate lunches for the elderly, man. And they had a Zydeco bingo going on. I went in there and tried to dance a little bit with them, and man, it was we
Hoop
turned them right
school.
out the window, man. It was
That's
fun. It
good.
was and to get that feedback, of that they just that they're and as much as I do with the youth, um, I think the elderly is more where my one of my biggest regrets, and I try to preach this to my kids. They have one grandmother still living. Uh, Time with your grandparents. Man, I wish if I could go back and do everything all over again, I would have probably just moved in with them just to spend that time. When grandma calls you and it's a pain in the butt because it's not the right time, answer that call because one day you're not going to be able to.
That's like my mama passed away, and boy, there's nothing I wouldn't give, for her to call up and just at the wrong time and just aggravate me a little bit. And you know, I missed one of the guys I really cherished his heart or whatever. And he was going through a rough time, and I was supposed to go and visit him, and I didn't. And he passed away before I had a chance to visit him. And I said, man, I can't miss those opportunities anymore. So you got to take advantage of my opportunities because they pass by quick.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree.
What's what I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you short. Go
No,
ahead.
I agree 100%.
Yeah. What's your biggest sense of accomplishment so far?
Definitely my grandchildren, my
Hmm.
children and my grandchildren, and watching my children uh, be who they are because I was able to break that cycle, and instead of in a rut, and those kids, watching my kids uh, excel and not even remotely falling back into a rut or something that I was in, other than
Sure.
stories, they don't have a clue. And that's how I wanted it. They,
Yeah.
once they got older, they know I wanted them to know, how they say, you got to learn the past so it don't repeat itself, even the bad.
Sure.
I wanted them to know, that was a cycle that they don't need to fall back into, so I think my biggest accomplishment is breaking that cycle and seeing my children being successful and great. You know, like my daughter being a great mother to her kids. My son's one just, man, he just went all in with Christ, and watching him is it's amazing watching his whole journey. And then my oldest son, watching him with his girlfriend, which we're thinking that's going to be his fiance soon. It's coming. We don't know when, but just watching them uh, mirror the better parts of you. That's definitely my biggest accomplishment.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
this success with the business or my oil field job, that could go away at the blink of an eye. Anything can happen. Um,
yeah.
but to create good human beings, that's going to impact and create and be, you know, create other good human beings and so on and so forth. That's definitely my biggest accomplishment. 100%.
For sure, man. That's amazing. Uh, what I heard this or whatever on your documentary. What's true talent?
So True Talent Sports. So when I was telling you, we have our youth organization, Lafayette Swamp Cats. That's where we do in Lafayette. Um,
Mhm.
I went to a couple of All American games as a coach, Florida, different areas, and some of them charged a ton of money. I really like the concept of what they did, kind of like the high school Under Armour game, right? Except for youth football. Some of them charge an outrageous amount of money, but the talent, they just let anybody who could pay that money, any little Johnny who had rich parents, could get in this game. So
Booster
it truly
ball.
wasn't an All American game. Then
Right.
some were loaded with talent, but they didn't give the kids anything or do anything special for the kids. And I thought to
Okay.
myself, man, how can I merge the two? That was 10 years ago, right?
Mhm.
So we took some planning and did it carefully and did it right. And we started True Talent Sports, which is an All American game. So we get kids from all over the country come in. Um, we don't charge much. We charge enough to cover all our costs. We don't have any sponsors. We cover it with just a cost. And we give the kids a lot. They get All American rings. They get nice uniforms. We really take care of those kids and make them feel special. Um, it's a so we used our local football program to get involved and touch kids that needed locally. We took True Talent Sports to get kids involved from all over the country. And we've had kids that come in from Canada, Germany, Mexico, from other countries to play in this event that we keep in touch with and mentor and make sure those kids are on the right track school wise and things of that sort. So it just gave us a bigger reach to reach kids across the country instead of just in our neighborhood.
Okay. Is it a league or is it just like a
It's
game or
it's
what
a
is
it's
it?
a it's an organization. Like I said, it mirrors like the Under Armour high school All American game. That's
Okay.
what it is. But what we did is we actually turned it into a 501c3 nonprofit to where we can give scholarship monies out. We can take money in to be able to give that money out. And that's also the same nonprofit that we use to feed hurricane victims and hurricane relief efforts. We
Very
use that
nice.
nonprofit and money from those games to for benefits that we go cook at and things of that sort. We donate money from those events that we host to give back and help
Very
families that need
nice.
it.
That's awesome, man. I love all the stuff you're doing out there, man. What's what's been the craziest experience you've had so far in everything
Oh
you've been doing?
man, probably probably the amount of entitlement that you come across, the sense of entitlement. It's crazy the amount of these young parents that just feel entitled and they don't want to break that cycle that they're in. They want to just stay there and they want to use that as an excuse. And to me, that's just the craziest thing. And it seems like more and more I'm seeing it uh, on a crazy level in youth sports now. Man, you're just
Hmm.
seeing these entitlement. The kids, the parents. Uh, if you see an entitled kid, you can follow them to their parent and see that mirror. You're looking right at. Um,
So are you referring to that their kids should always be played or they should have the best things and not show up to practice or
all
what?
of it. They should automatically be chosen for the All American game. If they're not, we messed up. We didn't choose the right kid. Playtime, position. Man, I had a kid quit our program. The kid loved it and he was here. The dad pulled a kid for our program and brought him somewhere else because he wasn't running the
Wasn't the
ball
quarterback?
enough. Well, he wasn't he would run and score 2 touchdowns a game, but because we would spread the ball out and somebody else would score a couple of touchdowns, he pulled him. And he started at defense every play. So the kid never got off the field. And you pull a kid from a team he's been with forever and just go somewhere else. And it ain't the kid. The kid was crying. He didn't want to leave. It's a parent. So that sense of entitlement has gotten crazier and crazier. Especially started coaching in '92.
Yeah.
Man, it's just an ugly world, man. It's an ugly world we live in, and um, the things that are acceptable by parents, you know, kids that are 10 years old talking back, cursing to their parents, things of that sort, and it's not frowned upon even, much less
Yeah.
corrected or disciplined. It just
Well, the bad thing is now it's like, the state preaches that, you should never under any circumstances strike or spank a child. And, in the era I grew up with, it was like not only would the parents beat you, not beat you, but they would discipline you. The grandparents would beat you, and probably the people up the street whenever they found out what was going on. And
any adult around
yeah,
you had free game to discipline you.
yeah, because I remember Principal Scalco at our school back in the day. He would paddle people. It was like, hey, do you are they on the paddle list or are they not on the paddle list? Because if they're not on the paddle list, hey, we're not gonna strike. But if they are, and that was the fear of God.
Man,
Whenever you was on a paddle list,
in my trophy room, I have a paddle. We sell some paddles with our logos, but I grabbed one in a Sharpie. I caught my elementary school principal at a cooking event that I was doing, and I
uh-huh.
made him autograph that paddle because he paddled my butt more than anybody. And took a picture with him in the autograph paddle. And I thought, man, this is really cool. This man paddled me more than my parents or anybody. So he autographed one of my Rusty's paddles and has
That's
it. I
awesome.
have it in my trophy room as a memento.
Yeah,
But
and that's the thing you talk about entitlement. It's like whenever you mess up and there's consequences, you learn what not to do. And
Right.
parents should kind of encourage that
You know,
nowadays.
nowadays it seems that the parent is just quick to take up for the kid, whether they're right or wrong. It's a you don't talk to my kid that way, or you don't tell my kid what he needs to do. Well, you know, parents that defend bad behavior for their kids are going to be paying attorneys to defend them when they get older.
Mm, okay, come on, come on.
That's that
Yeah,
that's
that's
just
tough.
that's how it's going to be. Parents that defend their kids' bad behavior when they're kids, they're going to be paying attorneys to defend them when they get older.
Yeah, I agree. How old are you, Rusty?
51.
Got a lot of energy for being 51, man. You get around there and move around, and you're doing a lot of stuff, huh?
I don't feel like it. I when I'm going, I'm good. When
Yeah,
I stop, it's bad. It's
it's
bad.
hard to get up and moving whenever you sit down for too long,
Uh,
huh?
I've had multiple back injections. I've had multiple
Yeah,
hernia surgeries in the front. Uh, I'm in the process of trying to figure out if it's going to be. I just had a round of injections in my shoulder to see if that's
yeah,
going to work, or do we got to have surgery, or what we're going to do here. Man, I got neck trouble, so I get around okay,
yeah.
but it hurts. I work through the pain. Uh,
That's right.
Take my Advil and rotate Advil and leave and get after it throughout the day and go to sleep. Take just take my meds and my I take a acid reflux medicine, cholesterol, and high blood pressure medicine at night. I take my 3 pills and go to bed, and
Yeah,
that's it.
I got a buddy of mine. He said the older you get, the more you got to go to the vet. And I said, I don't believe that. And boy, I got in my 40s and I heard stuff start creaking and cracking, and I'm just like, man, I wish I would have took a little better care of myself.
You know, you hear when you're younger, lift with your knees, and you're like, that don't make any sense, man. Now I find
I want to look cool when I pick stuff up, man.
I promise you today, if I did today 20 years ago, I would have made half the trips because I would
Yeah,
carry 3 cases of water to the trailer, or the pot and the burner to the trailer. Man, I grabbed a case of water today. I brought 1 case at a time to that trailer. Just took my time. I'm like, I'm
that's it.
less trips, more trips, less stuff, man. I unfortunately, when you get to our age and the stuff's already kind of busted up, it's hard to kind of take care of it now. But I worked offshore, so man, we climbed up everything. We did everything we wasn't supposed to do. Uh, not wearing hearing protection because it didn't look cool, and now I got tinnitus and this ringing in my ear that is absolutely crazy loud. My eyesight, I didn't wear my safety glasses, so I've had eye injuries. You just go wide open and you don't listen to the elders until you're the elder and you're like, damn, I should have listened to the elder.
That's
Instead of me
right.
trying
That's
to
right.
whittle their false teeth, I should have been listening.
Listen to those life lessons from the older folks, huh?
I should have
Yeah,
paid attention.
yeah. So who do you go to whenever you need advice or something like that? Do you have anybody that you kind of go to, your people that you go for guidance?
Yes, Ed Eaton. Eaton All Tools is who I work for. And Ed is incredible boss. Definitely the best boss I've ever been around. But
Shout out to Ed.
more of a father to me than I ever had.
That's
Um,
cool.
to the point where I had a job offer to leave Eaton Oil Tools, and Ed is who I called for advice on should I not leave his company, because I knew I
Wow.
was fixing to get the whole story. I was
Yeah.
going to get nothing that whether I wanted to hear it or not, I was fixing to get what needed to happen, what I needed to hear. Uh, just I trust him with every single thing. He's probably not only is he just a good guy, as far as a father and a man goes, and a husband, he's what you want to model after. He's just that guy.
Keep
So going to him for advice is easy. I know I'm not going to get, like I said, I'm not going to get sugar coated. I'm not going to get, uh, and sometimes, and sometimes he'll joke. He's like, "Well, do you want me to tell you what you want to hear, or do you want me to be honest with you?" And he laughs because I know he's fixing to come with the truth. good, bad, or ugly, he's going to come with the truth. But he's that man. He's that man in my life that I can go to and always count on him whenever I need it.
Yeah, it's good to have those people in life to either set you straight or keep it real with you, because a
Right.
true friend is somebody that's gonna, just let you know, hey, if you're out of line, this is where you're messing up, or hey, I need some advice. I might hurt your feelings. You okay with that? Like, yeah, and they'll shoot it to you straight. That's a good friend.
100%. I try to
What?
teach my kids that early. Friend, when you think you got a lot of friends, sit back and think. You got a lot of buddies. Buddies and friends are
Yeah,
two different people. And it's
yeah,
okay to have thousands of buddies. Buddies are great. They help you move
true.
furniture and whatever you need
That's
moving.
right. That's right.
But,
Man, you usually figure out how many friends you got whenever the chips are down and you at the bottom and you need help, and it's
yeah,
like,
well,
how many friends do I really got?
everybody claps for you, right?
Oh yeah,
Everybody's on board, and everybody was there from the start. And no, you wasn't. Uh, but yeah, it's those guys that you know.
sure.
Uh, I've been blessed. I can tell you, I got four true friends that I've had for years and years and years that I can pick up the phone in a second, no matter what the circumstance is, and they're there. They'll drop whatever, and they know they call me. And it's the same thing. Uh, you know, I think having four is unusual. Uh, that's how
Yeah,
that's how I value a friend. Um, People will say, "Oh, I got more than that," or what? Yeah, well, start figuring out. You probably don't. Uh,
yeah, of
I think I'm truly blessed. But at the end of the day, my wife is my best friend. She
course.
has been. People ask us all the time. They see us. We pick at each other still like the first day of college, right? We still.
That's a good time.
It looks like we're fighting all the time, and people are like, "Man, y'all." And then when they get to know us, they're like, "Man, y'all are funny. Y'all are funny.
Uh-huh.
How does that happen?" And I tell I'll get asked advice all the time. 29 years. How do you get to 29 years? You have to marry your friend. There's just
You
no
have to
doubt.
marry your best friend.
If
100%.
if y'all are not friends, it won't work. It might work for a while,
Yeah,
uh, but you have to marry your friend.
that's
And
right.
I definitely married my best friend. There's no doubt. Uh, Best friend, caretaker when I'm hurt, babysitter when I'm need to be babysat. Um, she's probably in the other room listening to this, just shaking her head. But
Yeah. Shout
yeah,
out.
yeah, she's probably smiling, thinking, yeah, he's buttering up for something. But no, it just and
He's got a favor to ask, huh?
right.
Uh-huh, that's right.
She knows I'm leaving town for a few days, so
That's right. That's right.
uh, but one of the things, and she keeps laughing when I say this, but one of the things that come up recently was, what are some of the things on your bucket list? What are some of the things you want to do?
Yeah.
Because whatever shenanigans I come up with, she's like the hunting dog first day of season. She's on the side of me. She's ready to go. Let's go.
Yeah. Let's go.
Everything from taking kids into our home. At the first young man I brought into our house to live with us, I had already made that decision on the way home. I didn't ask her. I had to kind of tell her he was going to be living with us when I got here. But
Yeah.
that was also knowing that, you know, she was going to be right there going, heck yeah, let's go. But it's been football, it's been cooking, it's been the season, it's been everything else. So we're slowly starting to get into her bucket list of what we do. Not near as much as mine, and I'm guilty for that. But we've been
Yeah.
trying to do more, and but definitely, you know, she she's definitely the one person I can always call to, that's there, you know.
Yeah. And that's awesome that y'all both have that heart to go out and help people, because I got this revelation the other day. All the stuff that we do just for ourselves, it just dies with us, but the stuff that we do for other people, that is the stuff that lives on behind us, and that's the legacy we're going to leave. not
right.
that it's all about leaving legacy, but you're helping people, and hopefully they'll pass that on to somebody else.
And
That,
you know, I get the whole hurricane relief and doing this stuff, taking
mm,
kids in, but little things. I
mm,
tell somebody, be nice to people because you may be the only person and that day, that week, that month that was nice to that person.
right.
You don't know what somebody's going through. They might be contemplating suicide. They may feel they don't matter. They may be going through hell and back. And your gesture that day, maybe all they needed was to say, wow, there is somebody that's seen me.
Yeah. Hey,
Um,
good job. You're doing a great job. Proud of you.
right. That little bit,
Yep.
for me, it was football coaches, just them telling me that made me realize that, hey, somebody was there. Somebody seen me. Somebody
Yeah.
did this. But yeah,
And that
man,
and that's like me. Whenever I work in the oil field too, and I try to make it a habit. When I see somebody having a crappy day, and I see them just they shaking their head, I said, "Hey, you're doing a good job today. I don't know if anybody told you that today, but you're doing a good job." And they said,
that's
"Yeah,
it.
nobody told me that."
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait.
man, you just got to be nice to people, man.
Yeah.
Just treat people with kindness. And I get it. There's days where I don't want to see people.
Yeah.
Uh,
Everybody's got those days.
but if
I
I
I,
have to get
I
out the
tell people,
house,
look, I'm on my period today. I don't know what else is wrong.
if I have to get out the house and come across people, I'm still gonna be nice.
Yeah.
It ain't their fault that I'm just not having that day.
Yeah.
So we'll cross that bridge.
Yeah.
But
They don't need to get the full Tasmanian devil effect today. I'll be
right,
nice to them.
right, right.
Hey, what's your advice for 18 to 25-year-old people out there? What would be your advice?
One, two things. One, try to spend more time. If you do have a grandparent or parent, spend more time with them. Take that phone call. Because usually in that range, that's about, on a good note, credit score. Seems crazy, but just finances. If you can't afford it, live within your means. If you can't afford it, don't buy it. Uh,
That's right.
I'm not saying you have to go and put half your check in a 401k and save and do all that stuff, but anything can happen at any time. Anything. And man, you might feel you're on top of the world and you go do this and that and you get one of those $800-900 truck payments and then good old oil field just the rug sweeps out
Rise
from under
up.
you and shoo, there you go. Uh,
Everybody's truck and camper went on sale when that whole oil field dried up
oh,
for that one.
absolutely. I've seen it. Take care of your elderly around you, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, aunts and uncles. Take care of them and take care of your finances. Make sure you have that in order. Um, not to be rich, but to just be comfortable, just to make sure you're not living in a 1984 Toyota Starlet,
That's
uh,
right. That's right.
just make sure you're not in the old Starlet, man. And things don't sleep very comfortable.
Yes, indeed. Good advice from Coach Rusty Noel, man. Oh, so what's the future look like for you?
Man,
What's your
we
3 to 5 year plan?
5 years. Let's go three. Uh, man, I'm hoping to still be employed at Eaton Oil Tools. That everything's going great, and hoping that the seasoning gig is rolling. Little less on the competition side, a little more wife weekends, a little less cooking competition weekends. Although she can say what she wants, I think she loves being with me while I'm cooking on the weekends. Um, uh, 5 years, really watching my kids take this and go with it, to where I can sit back and do more with the grandbabies, fill my house full of them. I hope all my kids have tons of grandbabies. Uh, more 5-year plan is to have my kids taking this and running with it, and being able to relax more and spending more time with the grandbabies.
Good deal. Good deal. Um, I don't know. We covered quite a gambit of stuff, man. You got
Yeah.
anything else you want to talk about?
No, man. Just you know, I want people to just know that no matter how bad it feels, man, somebody's there. Somebody's watching you. Somebody's proud of you. Um, and no matter who tells you no, who tells you you can't do it, you can. You have to go out and hustle. You have to apply yourself. But no matter what, the people closest to you, even if they're the ones telling you you cannot, you can. You can do it. If you're in a bad spot, man, it's not up to somebody else to come and break this cycle for you. You have to you have to get the mindset and break that cycle. Because the next generation of your legacy depends on it. And that's it, man. That's everything.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's good advice from Coach Rusty. Uh, Shout out to you, Coach Rusty. Tell people how to find you, support you, get involved with you.
You can go to my Facebook page, Rusty Noel. You'll see my mug on there. I have a fan page because I had hit the 5,000 on my regular page, so we started a fan page. We're trying to get everything switched over. Rusty Seasoning for every stuff. You can get on Rusty Seasoning on Instagram, Rusty Seasoning on TikTok, Rusty Seasoning for every stuff on Facebook. We post most of our stuff on there. The work that we try to do and do others. Uh, man, that's how you find me, man. Social media.
What about the Saving Grace Project, Buddy Ball, or anything like that?
Well, we haven't done Buddy Ball. There's an organization that kind of took it over in town. The Dreams Foundation has Buddy Ball, so that's where we
Okay.
send all the kids to.
Okay,
Saving
good.
Grace Project is a great one, and Lark. Lark of Acadiana is for adults with special needs. Uh, that's where Acadian Village is at. That's where my heart is at. We're at Lark trying to. We'll be there Saturday doing cook off this Saturday, trying to raise money for Lark. Man, doing what we can for those charities.
Man, that's awesome, Rusty. Thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate our boy hooking us up and you coming on here and talk about all the stuff you got going on. And dude, I just love you out there supporting the community, doing your thing, and just encouraging people, positive attitude.
I definitely appreciate you having me and giving me a platform to be able to share my story and hope it helps.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it is. Like I said, everybody needs to hear somebody's story. So if you like Rusty's story and enjoyed it, like and subscribe, share it, and support him out here. He just holds your how. And once again, I thank you for coming on, Rusty. Bye bye.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Yes, sir.